Hello everybody, my name is Blue, and today we are doing a shorter episode on the Lost World of Losango, because today we are doing the sloth exhibit. Yes, sorry, I almost forgot what we were doing today. Yeah, we're doing the sloth exhibit, which is obviously an exhibit animal, a walkthrough exhibit, so it won't take as long this time. So the actual speed build is a bit shorter as well. Although it still took quite a while, relatively, to build. Not as long as the previous Fossa one, which also didn't take that long. But yeah, this build took roughly, well, the actual footage was roughly 3 hours. But there's a lot of off-camera work that you'll see. I don't show everything in this speed build, because I kind of forgot to record the last bit. But that's no issue, because it's just everything basically around the exhibit, instead of obviously the exhibit itself, which surprisingly enough took a lot of time. It's a lot of just environmental stuff, and some other structures that I built off camera. But yeah, I'm sorry for that I didn't record it, but at the same time I'm sure you appreciate a shorter episode, because yeah, I think that watching speed builds can get quite exhausting, just watching someone build. Luckily you have me to listen to, but yeah, I mean, I definitely can't watch too many speed builds, because you know it's quite repetitive. I'll be honest. That's why I try to do some other stuff like speculation and stuff to keep the content a bit more interesting. And obviously I try to talk over these speed builds to try and keep that interesting as well. But yeah, the sloth. So this was quite a controversial animal that was added, actually. So the sloth is a walkthrough exhibit animal, and many people really enjoyed the fact that we got sloths in the game, including me. I think everyone likes the fact that we have sloths, but I think a lot of people really didn't like the fact that the sloths are a walkthrough exhibit animal instead of just a habitat animal. But I support Frontier 100% with this decision, because I think, I mean, let's be honest, we all love the koalas as an animal, but we don't really love its behavior. It's not a good koala. I mean, yeah, sure, we love koalas, right? Like, when I did my Australian build, obviously that was right before I did YouTube. When I did my Australian build, oh, I loved adding my koalas, and I've even added koalas in multiple zoos. That's how much I love the koalas. And I'm a sucker for marsupials in general. That's why I really want the Tasmanian devil. But the problem with the koalas is that the koalas are kind of bad at being a good koala, because it kind of does not climb. I mean, it does, it just doesn't climb a lot. It's an arboreal animal, and it basically spends all of its time in trees, but in the game it doesn't really do that. And I think the Frontier, the developers, they kind of know this issue, and they knew that it's too difficult for them to fix the actual arboreal system. They've attempted to fix the arboreal climbing system of the koalas multiple times, but still, despite it being fixed, quote unquote fixed, it's still an issue. Like, the koalas still don't really behave as you'd like them to behave. So I think this is a very elegant fix, because sloths don't really move that much anyway, right? Like, sloths are quite stationary, they just wall very slowly. So I think that's not a problem. So I think having an exhibit animal is completely fine. I think the problem that people have mostly is the fact that because it's an exhibit animal, that you're limited to the size of the exhibit, but also limited to the shape. Oh, well, for the most part you're limited to the shape, although you can definitely change up the actual shape of it, like I've done here. I made a curve and stuff, although you will see that it has some limitations, since you can't make it L-shaped, although you can have multiple, you can add multiple exhibits, but then at the same time you're limited to that size. So if you have multiple exhibits, then it's going to be really big. But the other issue, and I think that's an issue that I kind of understand as well, is that because you're limited to this exhibit, you're also limited to the whole climbing frame and climbing structure. You can add your own stuff into the exhibit, and you can customize it. That's no problem. I must say that you have unlimited customizability. You can create, like, every single sloth exhibit you create can look completely unique and different from the other ones. But the problem, the real problem, is that obviously the sloths won't use any of the stuff that you build. They will only use the already predetermined like climbing frame that's in the exhibit, and that you cannot change. You can add stuff to it, like a hammock or a little chilling area, a nest. You can add some extra posts sticking out, some presets though, but you can't change up the layout of the climbing frame, which, you know, every single sloth habitat has the same climbing layout. And you can pretend there's like other things, like you can add extra logs and extra vines and stuff to pretend that they can climb on there, but the actual layout will always be the same, which, yeah, I understand that's not really ideal, right? But despite all of those things, I have absolutely no problem with it. I think that a sloth as an exhibit animal is perfect. I think it's a perfect solution. I think we should continue adding these kind of mammals into exhibits. For example, an eye possibly. The only problem I have with an eye, I've said this before, if you have seen my island speculation video, is that not only, okay, you have to think of the fact, like, is it good for an exhibit? Yes, the eye is definitely good for an exhibit, but is it good for a walkthrough exhibit? Maybe not, right? Because you have to, there are two requirements. It has to be a relatively stationary animal, so it doesn't really negatively affect the reversibility of the animal, but it also has to be like able to be in a walkthrough exhibit, like being surrounded by humans 24/7 basically, which for an eye isn't ideal. But there are different picks of animals, like you can have squirrels and stuff like that, like those would be perfect. Although maybe not squirrels, because I'm sure you could have them in just a habitat, but maybe like some, what's it called, those flying squirrels and stuff, that would work, since, you know, flying is quite a difficult thing to implement in a habitat. But yeah, those things aside, although a lot of people make an issue of it, I personally think that this is a perfect and elegant fix for the sloths. Even though I said a lot of negative things about it, I definitely like it. I'm a big fan, and I really love that we have the sloths, and it opens up some different possibilities for the exhibits, definitely. So it means we don't really only need it for flying animals, but we can have it for a lot of different benefits, right? Because previously we only had flying animals for the walkthrough exhibit, which is ideal, because obviously that's like the whole ordeal of a walkthrough exhibit. We had the bats and the butterflies basically. But yeah, a sloth is very different, it's very unique, and it's a good solution for its climbing behavior. And it actually upgraded the walkthrough exhibit, because despite the obviously exhibits being notorious for being quite stationary, the sloth can actually traverse from one point to another. It can actually climb, and although these are still set animations technically, because it's a sloth, it doesn't really matter. It's really slow, and well, it basically just it climbs from one point to another point with a set animation. But that's basically what all climbing frames are, right? Like if any other arboreal animal uses a climbing frame, the animation that it uses is also a repetitive animation over that climbing structure. So really, it doesn't look repetitive, if that makes any sense. It's just climbing from one point to another point using that cycled animation. But yeah, it's really cool. And obviously it's only set points that it can climb across, because there's also some points where it's just standing still, for example in the hammock or something like that. But still, I think it's a very, very good fix, and I think most of this speed build I've actually just talked about the sloth controversy. I haven't really talked about the actual build itself. Just a quick note, the build is inspired by a greenhouse. Yes, it's actually inspired by a greenhouse. But that's all I can say about it, because the speed build is nearly over. Alright, so welcome to the Brown-Throated Sloth habitat. I've done some work off camera, so that's why there's this whole bit just as a nice way to enter this area. It's just a sloth habitat, but yeah, this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like in game. I also added this. You probably haven't seen that on the speed build either. But yeah, there's different ways to view this habitat from basically every single angle. You can view it from outside, which, look at that sloth having a good old time over there. Oh, and there's one in the back over there as well. And then we can go inside. I've added this nice sign over here as well. And yeah, the inside has been spruced up and I signed to show where we will be entering the Brown-Throated Sloth enclosure. So we enter and we can walk through the habitat. And there's 4 of them currently, I think. Yeah, there's one here, which actually earlier I remember it being over there, so it really has moved quite a bit. Although still not a large distance, but for a sloth it's impressive. And I think this one is very stationary. I'm pretty sure they can traverse throughout the whole habitat, even though it's an exhibit animal, which is really cool. The other one, the third one, is right over here having a nice snack. And number 4, where is number 4? Number 4, oh, look at that. Number 4 is having the greatest time lounging. And sloths must have a great life. Like, they're just eating and sleeping. That's literally the gaming life. But yeah, the last final way to view this exhibit is from these little windows back inside. Not the greatest views, it's more like more of a hidden view, but you get a glimpse of sloths sometimes. Oh yeah, look, you can see the sloths from here as well. And then there's an education board, which is very important, and I think I haven't placed any education boards in this zoo before, so yeah, I thought I'll add those as well. And also I'll show nighttime as well, because actually I've added a load of different light features and stuff too. So this is what it looks like at night, I must say. I think it looks really cool, especially how the grass looks. It looks like the grass is lighting up, or well, these little shrubs, yeah. And yeah, I think it's really nice, and even the woods are a bit lit up. And then this is how it looks like at night here as well. It's very cozy. I think that's the best way to describe it. Just a cozy little bill with the South American music playing from these speakers. That's basically how I hid this. I think it's supposed to be a mister, but since it kind of sticks out, I just hid it by adding these 2 speakers. And the inside, let's have a look at the inside. This is what the inside looks like, not too special. But yeah, that's basically the sloth habitat. I hope you enjoyed this little speed build. The next speed build will probably be the first arid animal. Maybe the red river hog if I have time, but probably not because I'm quite busy. But yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.